Welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your HUT lineup decisions. Today's episode, we've got a bunch to talk about. We have a new patch that came out in the game, so we'll go over the very brief patch notes. We've also got this like super random goalie mask graphic update. I'll show you guys this real quick. If you load into the game, you'll get like a big banner, but it says made on iPad. Download the latest roster update to have access to these new goalie masks. I gotta be honest with you, it has been years since we've gotten like some sick new goalie masks, so I doubt that they're going to be available in HUT. Maybe they are. I have no idea what this is. There was no explanation on EA's Twitter or website about it, so more on that in a little bit. But pretty cool. Always love to see more immersion and things like that. So love to see that. Hope we get more like custom pads and stuff like that. But going over the patch notes real quick. So patch blog 8. These should be live now at the time of this recording. Going through gameplay, improved AI forecheck behavior when deciding to go after the puck carrier. Super vague. I have no idea on the instance of when this is going or what this is going to improve upon. But it's odd. Usually in these patches, we don't see any gameplay stuff because these are like the patches that have stuff in the background that is like either future HUT content. They have to get future HUT content in with a patch, so like MSP art and all that stuff. And obviously there was a necessary fix to the XP path because that broke and they weren't able to put season 4 in. So I'm assuming that's what the reasoning behind this patch is. Nonetheless, Hockey Ultimate Team, various visual art fixes, PWHL Arena digital banners are fixed. Sick. The menus are still absolutely atrocious. Art, we got Coach Todd McClellan for the Red Wings, and the following uniforms have been added: the Hershey Bears third, the Grand Rapids thirds, the Indy Fuel and Troy Riviere Lions third, and then the Seattle Thunderbirds from the CHL. So again, these patches are usually because of HUT content need to be going in the background, so that's more of what I anticipate. However, I have no idea what this means, so be on the lookout for your forecheck by your AI. Let's get into today's questions and comments for today's video. We'll sort by the top rated. I was so happy for the extension. I haven't been able to finish the XP path at all, and finally was able to do it and get Larkin. I think it was great. Obviously, there was a lot of people that benefited from it, but the one thing I wish that would have been addressed is the fact that so many people have completed the XP path and then cashed in their extra objectives being finished. Going forward, guys, if you hit the final XP path in the future, don't cash in your objectives. Just leave them. I know it looks dumb, but honestly, if this happens again, you want to be able to take advantage of that. I moved Zetterberg to D and one time for the top left goal. So this is the Zetterberg one-timers. Same situation. I just took him to the bottom right, waited for my defenseman to rotate to go and cover for him, and then you can just feed him one-timers from the point. With these beastly new 91 team of the weeks lately now would be a great time for an updated best cards at each position vid. I'll do that this week for sure. I can go through and come out. Let me know in the comments. Do you want me to include team of the years and fantasy cards? Because obviously we can't like obtain those now. That's why when I do those videos, it's kind of tough because I try to give everyone a guide. But obviously no one's gonna be able to go and get Sorelli. So I made point. Needed a good right-handed player. My left side is stacked and center is also pretty stacked. I felt the same in the Four Nations event about Rantanen. It's just, it is what it is. And I didn't make Rantanen. Happy that I saved my stuff. And I made Dunn, who after a few games has been pretty fun. The Rangers hat you were talking about is not brown. That is an orange. Okay, I've actually had enough of that. Sleeves, thanks for responding to my question last week. I took your advice and upgraded at center, and the team is much better. Keep up the great work. Watch you ever eating when I get home. Really have helped me navigate HUT. Cheers. I'm the 6th. I'm getting sick again. This is like the 5th week in a row. It's coming to the end of the year for me, as I can see that 99/MGAG cards are popping up. And I've had a blast this year, actually. Don't take it seriously. Play with your favorite players. And another year of using the base 85 overall Draisaitl for the entire season. I think fantasy has been done really well this year, and I hope they keep doing it for the rest of this game and for sure next year. I do hope they bring back a 22 of 22 event where every team gets an MSP. Still my favorite for choices wise all time. Oh yeah, that was a great event, the under 22. The fantasy event has done really well. Like I mentioned in some of the other videos, like I'm very critical of the HUD content team, but I make sure that when they do have a good idea, that I make sure that I voice that as well, because I hope that some of the improvements they've made have done really well. The fantasy cards for the World Juniors, as well as the Four Nations event, was great. Was it perfect? No, but I hope that the playoff event, which has been one of the worst in my opinion, the playoff event is like 2 months long because it goes all throughout the whole playoffs. And like it's every card or every round, those cards get like +2 for every win and stuff like that. Give us fantasy cards right at the start of the playoffs. Make us shoot our shot. It would be great. In terms of a daily XP cap, it just needs to be a weekly cap. That way, if you don't have a bunch of time until the weekend, you can still play a bunch. 100% agree on this. So I talked about my last video about the XP path, something that needs to be done to, or could be done to kind of stop the players getting out of control, because there's guys out there that will just grind this game nonstop. If you put a weekly cap on it, that would allow you to, at any day, grind as much as you want, and then it would allow them to put event items in the XP path, right? So, like, if the XP path is kind of gated, where even if you got the weekly stuff done for the 2 weeks, it would still be just short of whatever the future event items are, right? That would be awesome. I think that would be the correct way to do it in the structure of what EA wants to do with the XP path. Loving all the content as usual, Sleeves. Can't wait for MLB, the show, and real life, dude. Same. They're at spring training right now. I'm watching Bregman hit dingers. It's just, I love baseball. I had an idea for next year's BND cards on top of some of the other suggestions that you and others in the past, like getting back trade-in MSPs when you make ultimate event cards. What if each season you add a timer on BND cards, so after the season finishes, you can use them to trade in for next season's XP, re-roll them for the new season's BND cards, or just quick sell them for a modest amount of coins. Maybe you give players a week to do any of the above actions, and whatever didn't get traded in or sold can be saved for team use. Maybe a limited number like wildcard slots in MLB, or they disappear from your collection. Part of what I've tried to adopt while playing is to give up trying to figure out EA's head-scratching approaches, and instead, echoing what you said, treat it like a beta version and hope that next year is the year we figure it all out. Thanks again. I mentioned this. Like, I truthfully have hope for next year's content, because I don't believe that they've made anywhere near the same amount of money in past years. Just judging, I have no information on this, but just judging by the amount of people that still had pre-order points like a month and a half into the season, the amount of comments and people that were saving because the packs were so bad just kind of leads me to believe that they really took it on the chin. And FIFA got crushed this year. I can't see, given how the content team went about the content this year, it doing very well. So what this year allows them to do is they changed the entire structure of how content was made, right? The XP path, all that stuff, and it should have been the best year of content. The problem is that they decided to make all these changes very late, and they had no QA testing on what would actually be enjoyed, and we're just along for the ride. That's how I view it, and I think that next year they will actually have a full cycle of, hey, what was enjoyed? And I don't mean perception, I mean percentage of sets. So they can go and see, team builders are not being made. Okay, let's release team builder packs, right? That's when you see those packs that come out. That's usually indicative of them trying to get people to take, part in a certain set or section of the game. So, like, when the team builder packs first came out, everyone was like, what? Because they were actually half decent value to buy with coins. And that was a clear correction, because nobody was making the team builder cards early on because of the cost. It was simply absurd, right? So I hope that with all the information that they have this year, based on the sets made and what events worked well, what ones didn't, the fantasy cards, all of that, we'll get a much cleaner content structure in 26. That's my hope. I put that about like 50-50 if it actually happens. It will definitely improve, because in my opinion, I don't think it can get much lower, right? So we'll see. And I think again, I have some hope. Look up rubber banding in video games. It was basically the computer coded the cheat to make you lose. It was in games in the 90s, like Unbeatable Jam and a few others. I'm sure it's still in games now. So this is talking about Ice Tilt. Like, again, I don't think you can prove Ice Tilt. And everyone says, well, why can a base card team keep up with my God Squad? If you play with a God Squad and you play with full base cards and you play 20 games of where you normally rank with your God Squad, you will lose more. You will. You don't notice it game to game, or you notice it game to game, but you don't notice it over like a grand like timing of it, right? So I can attest to this. So before last year, 2 years ago, my whole channel was I'm gonna get the best cards at all times, try them out, and show you guys like my experience. I spent a lot of money. It was part of my channel, and then I decided that I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna go completely free to play. It took off about 100 skill points of my ranking, right? And it doesn't. If you give someone who's elite at the game a bad team, they can still do well, but there will be some losses, right? And I think that if it were the case, if you just had that means that everyone who has the worst team just automatically wins. And I refuse to believe that, because if I were to use a team worse than mine, I would just get smoked in Division 2 right now. Do I think there are things that EA might have in there? Maybe that's just stuck in there. Like I said, the final minute of periods, that's been a thing since like NHL '06 on Versus, right? Like stuff just goes in the final minute, and it's like it's almost in there to make games closer than they appear. That's what it feels like. But it's so hard to prove. Hey, Slaves, love the videos. Keep up the good work. Got a bit of a gameplay question for you. Any tips on retaining possession in the O-zone? I feel like I break into the zone, I take one shot, my forwards won't even attempt to pick up the rebound, and my opponent will immediately break it up. Then when they're in my zone, it's a complete opposite, and I get absolutely hemmed in. I can't break it out for the life of me. I'm a Div 4, so it could be that I'm just not the best at the game, but a tip would be greatly appreciated. One of the hardest things in this game is patience with the puck and without it. So what I mean by that, I struggle with this too. In the offensive zone, when I have the puck, the first thing I want to do is get rid of it. Whether it's a shot, deke into the middle to try and get, a go-to goal, a pass. The great players, if you watch them, can hold on to the puck and will hold on to the puck for minutes on end. And they don't feel the pressure of having to move it or, trying to make a move just to make a move. And in the lower divisions, it is 100% a problem. Like if you just get into the zone, if you watch my gameplay and strategies video, still the strategies I use, guys. I would fully recommend them. The game hasn't changed enough to go away from them. But dumping the puck in when you see the far side winger having a step and their defenseman is back skating, that's a way to get the puck and keep possession. And then you need to have one or two plays that you're always looking for, right? And if they aren't available, hold on to it and just skate around, right? And that's kind of the annoying part of the game is like that's really what it is at the high end. You just hold on to the puck for forever. The other thing, look at your quick breakout. If you have your quick breakout set to like leave zone early, change it to close support. And then when you get the puck in the corners, look right in front of your net and your centerman should be sitting there and you could pass to him and then pass to your wing. You need to have a read right for when you get the puck. Inside all the spaghetti code, it was imprinted in like boost, like the actual position and same team lines. It's embedded in there. We all feel it. Again, I don't disagree. It's just we don't have access to the code. That's probably a reason why it's not on PC, to be honest with you. In my mid-20s, this is a jersey collection question. I love these. In my mid-20s, I'm in my mid-20s and I love collecting jerseys. I didn't get into jerseys until I was out of college, but my mindset has never been, wow, I want to be this player, so I'm going to wear his jersey. Instead, it's like a novelty. I love getting jerseys of specific players on specific teams. Every time my friends and I go to a game, we love to find the best jersey, whether it's the most obscure, rarest, or just coolest. So it's less, wow, I want to wear McDavid's jersey just because it's the best, but instead it's a Clayton Keller purple reverse retro, Parayko Team North America, or John Scott All-Star jersey, all being my favorite jersey. I love this. Like I said, this is all my own stupidity and opinion and how I like use jerseys, right? I don't blame anyone. The having the crazy obscure jerseys, like I love going to Leaf games and you see like a Chris Versteeg jersey. Like that's funny, right? I just like I said, I don't buy a lot of jerseys anymore unless they're going on the wall. I buy like hats or like I'm a big jacket guy now. Like I love buying like good bomber jackets or sweaters, stuff like that. I don't really buy jerseys as much anymore. The NHL content team needs to take a page from FIFA's book. I gotta be honest with you. Before I finish reading this, FIFA lost like I don't know if it's hundreds of millions, but millions of dollars in Ultimate Team this year. So just keep that in mind. FIFA's infinitely better in every way. They have 10x the dev resources, but they have been really bad this year. I usually get the game around January when I start to need a break from NHL, and every year I'm able to build a very competitive team after about a month because FIFA gives fantastic cards through objectives and the XP path. All the cards are even event-related and untradeable instead of BND. I like the idea of an XP path with event-related rewards because it would allow the players who don't have a ton of time to still build decent MSPs or at least get 100% agreement. Everything should be in the XP path. like it's so funny because for years I've been like, an XP path would be the best. They give us an XP path and it's not good. And because it's the context in which I meant it, right? In MLB, all the rewards are from the XP path, and that or programs, right? And that is how it should be. Rivals rewards and squad battle rewards were removed, right, from this year. All of those rewards, or at least like a good amount, should be just jam packed into the XP path, so that everything you're doing, the foundational pyramid building block should be play the way you want to play. And that's how it was marketed, and that's how the game should have been running. And it just simply isn't that. It's funny because the first 2 weeks of the game, if we go back, we didn't have rivals or squad battles objectives, and the only way to get the dog absolute brutal rewards was from the XP path. But the one thing I enjoyed about that was that it was the only way to get rewards. They were awful, and there was no rewards, and everyone was like, what's going to happen here? And it was like, I just played rivals. I didn't have to play squad battles, right? And to get the max rewards, right? And it was weird because, like, in theory, that's the best, but it was like the rewards are so bad and lackluster that's awful. I'm relatively new to Hut, but I feel like moments are supposed to be there so that you can try to recreate actual moments from the NHL past and present. At this point, they should rename it to Hut Challenges. Also, the Seth Jarvis Hut Challenge was terrible. Oh, this is the problem because for them to make, I don't know how you would make specific, like, what's the best way to describe this? The Steve Yzerman goal against St. Louis. Right? The famous off the rush, just clapper, right? You have to score that. One, would EA even be able to track it? And two, is it even possible to be done? Right? Like, it would be so cool if that's how moments worked. But in MLB, for example, they do moments awesome. And in football too. But it's so much easier to make. NHL and hockey is so fluid. Like, I don't know how you would do it. It should be much more like specific. If you go back to NHL 24, the launch moments, my man Nicholas spent a month on those, and they were really well done. Like, even the players on the opposite teams and all of that, like, it was just really well done. But it takes so much time. There's not enough dev resources to do that. So. Ace Slaves, I was wondering your opinion on at what point you would move on from Gallery of Greats players. For example, I have X Factor Fox at 91 and soon to be 92, but I have Makar, ASP, and Rob Blake as my right-handed defenseman. Would love your input. We're getting there. I just took Brett Hull out of my lineup, but that's more because I refuse to take out some of my favorite players. We're getting there. I think Ray Bourque and Paul Coffey are still very usable because there isn't a lot of great left-handed defensemen. But for righties, the best defensemen have been righties, like Parayko, and Ekholm's coming now for the left side. But you had Makar, who's more popular than Quinn Hughes, and you had ASP, but you also had, I'm drawing a blank now. There was a couple other, Adam Foote, his team builder card. Like, that's a great card, right? So it's probably now, I don't know if I'd move Adam Fox or Rob Blake, though. I'd consider moving Rob Blake moving Fox for ASP. Lineup question. I'm a huge Oilers fan, and I plan on making the Bouchard no matter what. But for right defenseman, I have ASP, Foote, and Makar. To what I was just talking about. Who gets the boot? I think ASP. Like, he's a great card, but Foote is the best of the bunch here. Makar is awesome. All those free abilities. I'm moving on from, and not to mention, unless you're like a Team Sweden fan or a Detroit fan, like, you're replacing Bouchard with one of your favorite players would just be good. Start bench cut for the NHL future. Kevin He, Ryan Robrick, Brady Waslin. Oh, that's tough. Okay, start is Ryan Robrick because he is going to probably be top 10, maybe a top 5 pick in next year's draft. Brady Waslin. Oh, man. The problem is that Kevin's going to get an NHL game, a chance at an NHL career because of his skating. But God, Brady Waslin is a first-round pick next year, too. That's tough, man. I'm going to go bench Kevin, cut Brady, but simply because Kevin is one of my favorite people I've ever met in real life. He's one of the best kids, and I can't wait to see what he does with his chance in Winnipeg. I need a right-handed shot winger. I have 230,000 coins in value. Who do you recommend? I don't know if you have McKinnon, but like McKinnon's like Four Nations card is probably stupid expensive. You could make for almost that price if you use some of your collection, you could make the Nylander sharpshooter card, which in my opinion is one of the better cards. So that's what I would go with. So that's gonna do it for today's episode of Who Should You Choose. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Excited to hear from you tomorrow. I'll see you next time.